Hello, everybody. This is Padmaja Iyengar Paddy. Namaskar and a good evening to all of you from India. A warm welcome to you to the second edition of International Poetry Meet. Come, let's all enjoy an evening of some great English poetry and a tete-a-tete with the participating poets at this International Poetry Meet series, being facilitated by my dear friend Neelam Saxena. I also welcome friends connecting with this meet on Facebook Live on Neelam Saxena Poet page. I welcome our guest poet all the way from Saudi Arabia, Dr. Koshy AV, a renowned poet, academician, and essayist. Hi, Dr. Koshy. Welcome to the live streaming studio of StreamYard. Hope you're comfortable and are able to hear me. Am I audible? Yeah. Good. Welcome. Dr. Koshy is a poet, teacher, writer of fiction, literary critic, and theoretician, as well as an editor and anthology maker. He is a co-author of 2 Amazon bestsellers and presently writing a novel. He is the founder of TSL, the Significant League, an interactive literary group on Facebook, and Real International Prize and an NPO, non-profit organization for autism. 2 of his books have achieved thousands of reads, and a research essay on Dattani, that is Mahesh Dattani, the famous playwright, has 15,000 reads. A warm welcome to you, Dr. Koshy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope I'm audible.
Yes, Dr. Koshy, you are.
Yeah.
I have great pleasure in welcoming another accomplished poet, Satbir Chaddha from New Delhi. Welcome, Satbir ma'am, to the studio of StreamYard. Hope we are audible to each other. Hi. Good.
Yes.
Good. Yeah. Satbir Chaddha is the author of the best-selling novel, For God Loves Foolish People, for which she was honored with the Royal International Prize for Literature 2017, instituted by Dr. Koshy AV here. He is with us here. She was awarded the Littrepreneur 2019 prize by Authors Press. Satbir Chaddha is a novelist, poet, and short story writer based in Delhi. Welcome, Satbir Chaddha ji. A warm welcome to this evening of International Poetry Meet. I'm delighted to welcome. Yeah, I'm delighted to welcome another of our guest poets for this evening, and my dear friend Mohammad Zahid from Jammu and Kashmir. A warm welcome, Zahid, to the StreamYard studio. Hope my voice is. Yeah, good. Namaste.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Mohammad Zahid is a poet, translator, and also an editor. His maiden poetry collection, The Pheromone Trail, bagged the Best Book Award from the Academy of Art, Culture and Languages, Jammu and Kashmir in 2015. His poetry has appeared in many Indian and international journals. He has translated the first volume of Kashmiri Zuban and Shairi by Abdul Ahad Azad, a landmark work from Kashmiri to English, published by the Academy of Art, Culture and Languages, Jammu and Kashmir, and Aina Khana by Aziz Hajini to English, published by the Sahitya Academy, New Delhi. He is a translation editor for Kashmiri at Muse India and Lakeview International Journal of Literature and Arts. Welcome, Zahid, to this evening of International Poetry Meet.
Thank you, Paddy.
And a hearty welcome. Yeah. And a hearty welcome to you, my dear friend and prolific poet, Neelam Saxena, the ever-active promoter of poetry across forums and platforms, the facilitator and organizer of this International Poetry Meet this evening, and the series as well of interactive poetry readings by select poets. Kudos and respects to you, dear Neelam, for this novel concept of a cozy group of poets meeting and sharing their poetry and their poetic journey as well. In these difficult times of COVID-19, I think this is a wonderful initiative where we all connect with each other through poetry. Thank you, Neelam. And this is
My
really a great
pleasure.
energizer, socially and creatively, isn't it?
Really. Applause.
Many of my friends are saying, hello, Paddy. Hi, Gauri Dikshit. And hi, Santosh Bakaya. I request you, Neelam, now to please speak a few words on this excellent initiative of yours. But before that, let me share a few words about you. An introduction for all those who have connected with us. Though, as I said earlier, too, you don't need any introduction. But let me do the formality all the same. Neelam Saxena, a bilingual poet in English and Hindi, works as an additional divisional railway manager, Pune, Maharashtra. An engineering graduate from VNIT Nagpur, a PG diploma holder in IM and HRD, and also in finance, she has completed a summer course in finance from the London School of Economics. An author of 4 novels, a novella, 6 short story collections, 31 poetry collections, and 13 children's books, Neelam is featured in the Limca Book of Records 2015 as the author having the highest number of publications in a year in English and Hindi. Neelam is a recipient of several awards and honors for her writings, notably a second prize each in a poetry contest organized by American Embassy and a national poetry contest organized by Poetry Council of India 2016, Sohanlal Dwivedi Puraskar for Children's Literature 2018, instituted by the Maharashtra State Hindi Sahitya Academy, Human International Women Achievers Award 2018, Bharat Nirman Literary Award 2017, Premchand Award by the Ministry of Railways, Rabindranath Tagore International Poetry Award, Soninder Samman, and Freedom Award by the Radio City. She was listed in Forbes as one among the 78 most popular authors in the country in 2014. Over to you, Neelam, now for your introductory remarks. Neelam.
Thank you, Paddy. First, I would like to introduce Paddy, who is our moderator for the day. Padmaja Iyengar Paddy, formerly a senior banker and urban governance consultant and the honorary literary advisor of CCBA Vijayawada, is currently an advisory panel member, ISISAR Calcutta, and the editorial counselor India, International Writers Journal USA. Her maiden poetry collection, Penchants, has been recognized as a unique record of excellence by the India Book of Records for its never before attempted movie reviews and management topics in rhyming poetry. Poetry by Paddy, articles and short stories, some of them prize winners, are published in various anthologies, newspapers, e-zines, and print journals. A recipient of several awards, Paddy has compiled and edited 6 international multilingual poetry anthologies, of which Amravati Poetic Prism 2016-19 have been recognized by the Limca Book of Records as poetry anthology in most languages. So that was about Paddy. So I would
Thank you, Neelam.
It is a pleasure to have you, Paddy. So I would just like to welcome our great poets for the day, Dr. Koshy, Satbir ji, Zahid, Paddy. It's really a pleasure to have you. And I would also like to welcome all our viewers. Some of you will be in the studio very soon. I'm very sure. So I would just like to state 4 lines. On the anguished pages of my diary, the poetry droplets fell like balm, gave my mind a new vivacity, and made my heart oh so calm. So poetry is something, thank you. So poetry is something which always calms the mind and makes us a different person altogether. I'm sure each one of us has experienced this. So over to you, Paddy, once again for further moderating the session.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Neelam, for the wonderful start to the international poetry reading session of today, this evening. And I now have the great pleasure and honor in requesting Dr. Koshy AV to please read his poem. Dr. Koshy, over to you.
Thank you very much. I want to start by thanking Neelam for this initiative and giving me this opportunity, especially because a long time back she had actually said that this would happen. So I'm happy that it's finally happening. That at least virtually we can again be on the same platform and exchange poetry. And I want to thank Paddy, Padmaja, for being here. I'm very honored to meet you. I think this is the first time we have met, at least
Yes,
online.
yes.
We could finally. So that's a great thing. And I'm also happy always to be with Satbir, and it's great to meet Zahid. You know, my computer just crashed today, so I have taken. So I have not taken new poems. What I have done is I have taken my collection, Birds of Different Feathers, and I'm going to read my first poem from that. This is a poem called Ground Zero. Ground Zero. The raven with the black eyes exploded into the dove with the red eyes, and both their wings clouded over into a stream of red. It was a moment of collision when you hate what you love and you love what you hate. It was ground zero, and then there was only a detonation and a mixed bag of bones and feathers flying to the ground. So that's a poem. This is a collection. Every poem is about birds.
Oh,
And,
thank you. Thank you. That's
I
wonderful.
like
That's very wonderful.
Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much, Dr. Koshy. Are you through with your poetry reading?
Yeah, I mean, you said 20 to 24 lines. So
Yes. Short and
I
succinct, very
kept short.
beautiful. And I just want to know the thought behind this poem. What made you, write this poem? What inspired you to write this poem? Any incident, anything that you came across that gave rise to this poem?
Yeah, it's a poem about our world today. Of course, this was written before COVID, but it's a poem about how there's a lot of conflict, and there's a kind of a war and peace situation constantly and all that's happening around us. So it's like a poem based on history, you can say. That's the inspiration.
Very
And yeah,
nice.
it's also based on an animation of a song by Pink Floyd.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow,
wonderful.
wonderful. See, when we ask, we come to know so many things that went through the poet's mind, when a particular poem was born. That's amazing, and I like the way the ground zero, was a very nice concept. Thank you so much, Dr. Koshy. That was wonderful reading. And thank you for sharing your thoughts as well. I'm immensely pleased and honored to now invite poet Satbir Chaddha ji to please read her poem. Over to you, Satbir ji. Please read your poem.
Yes, thank you very much, Paddy. And Koshi's poem was amazing. And you speaking about it really gave a bigger dimension to the poem. Thank you, Paddy, for that. So, this is an old poem, a love poem. It takes 25 years to know that love is nothing. This is from my old book, Breeze.
Okay.
You clutch my hand so tight, as though I'm going to leave you. Trust yourself. There's more power in your love than in your fist. My colorful, beautiful glass spangles may snap and cut through my skin. Then blood will ooze, and you will suck it with your cracked lips, which will also bleed as they crinkle together in the process. Can it not be love unless your blood tastes my blood? Years will pass and life will go on. The water flowing down that mountain spring would have created a lovely pond in the valley inhabited by swans and lovely water lilies. Every day the butterflies in our garden would have swelled on thousands of drops of nectar from the flowers. Flowers would be seeds, seeds would be trees. Seasons would have changed: green, amber, gold, and summer flaming red. New blood every moment would have flowed through your veins. When they meet then and kiss and suck the lips, will they taste the same 25 years from now? Maybe they for another 25 to find out whether our blood is still as salty or it is still as sweet as it is now. Or maybe there'll be none left in the veins or under the skin to taste anymore. Thank you.
So wonderful.
Yes, very
So
nice.
wonderful.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree
So
with
fun.
Neelam. Yeah. Dr.
And
Koshy, you were saying something?
No, wonderful poem. That's it.
Yes, yes. And it
Thank
kind
you.
of reaches the heart straight. You know, it's
thank you.
beautiful. Yeah, beautiful, very soulful. And I'd just like to know, Satbir ji, the thoughts behind this poem. What inspired you to write this particular poem? How you happened to, get such
It's
beautiful words into your poem?
a very strange thing. I was traveling to Bombay and a
Okay.
couple behind me on the flight. I was alone. That man was clutching that woman's hand so tight, left her for a minute. And I was so scared her bangles will break. And then I asked the air hostess, I said, give me something I want to write. And I wrote it on the plane itself.
Wow, amazing thoughts. Amazing
Thought
thoughts.
starts and it goes to, 5, 50, 80, goes on and on. Takes so long. Thank you for asking. I was able to share.
Yeah. Yes,
Any,
it's nice
and
to
it is,
know the thought behind the poem, and what makes the poet, what inspires the poet to write a particular
yeah,
poem. And this was
thought
so lovely. This was so lovely. The power of love.
it made me ponder how love starts with a touch and then it
True.
goes so deep to the soul, to the blood, to when there's nothing left.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Paddy.
My pleasure. And beautiful thoughts there, Sadhvirji. Thank you very
Thank
much. Now I invite a young poet from Jammu and Kashmir, Mohammad Zahid. Are you there?
Uh, he's coming. So just wait for a second.
Yeah.
Yes, he's in.
Yes, he's there. He's there. Uh, very happy to
Yeah,
invite you.
I
I'm quickly inviting you before we lose you again. Please read your
yeah, yeah,
poem.
yeah. Yes, so here's my poem.
Yeah.
Questions. Sometimes I've never answered the questions, while at times I've answered what was never asked. The distance between the unanswered questions and answers to no questions is spent in traversing the gap between my own questions and their evading answers, leaving me helpless. Counting the stars in the dark nights, I lose my count after reaching 1,033,000,033. Arithmetic, I scratch my head. Geometry, I marvel at the symmetry. In the seemingly scattered maze of tiny dots, pregnant like a budding thought, a prologue to the universe where there are trillions of such trillions, and perhaps many more. I still don't answer.
Looks like we've lost him. He's
I
coming
think
back.
yeah.
Yeah. Please
So
continue.
geometry, I marvel at the symmetry in the seemingly scattered maze of tiny dots, pregnant like a budding thought, a prologue to the universe where there are trillions of such trillions, and perhaps many more. I still don't answer some questions and answer some ones never asked. Thank you.
Wonderful. Maze of time dots. That was a very nice choice of words, Zahid. Quickly,
Thank
what
you.
made you write this particular poem? Something must have happened. I see
Yeah,
the symmetry,
absolutely.
geometry, and all those things. So,
I think my interest in the sky and the stars, like ever since my childhood, it has always bewildered me. And the stars are always, a scene of fantasy for all the sky gazers, whoever, like whoever is interested in this thing. And then when you start to see, like, and you develop a sort of a connection, and then you see how vast.
oh, lost him again.
Yeah, we've lost him for some time.
Shall we wait for a while whether he comes back or?
You are the moderator, so I think you can take a call.
Yeah, we'll wait for a few seconds more. Maybe he's trying. There he is. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, please
So
continue,
just
Zahid.
just
No worries.
just being surprised by the vastness of the universe and the small insignificant self that small this human being is, and how he is able to connect to the vast universe. So just trying to find that connect, and try to build a relationship, and you try to delve in the secrets of the nature. So that's how what goes behind this poem.
Wonderful, Zahid. Very nice thoughts
Thank you.
behind the poem. Thank you very much for sharing those
Thank you.
insights. Uh,
Thank you.
I'm now very pleased and honored to invite my dear friend, the awesome organizer and facilitator of this meet, Neelam Saxena, to please read her poem. Over to you, Neelam.
Thank you, Paddy. So, the title of my poem is Death. Death. I know that the thought frightens you. We'll not discuss it. At least, not today. When I was bereaved due to the death of my pet, I couldn't sleep for days. I felt that a part of me was gone. But then everybody has to go someday or the other. See, I am talking of death again. Let's not discuss it. At least, not today. Sometimes people don't die. Nevertheless, they are dead. I know a lady well who became a widow during the Mumbai blast. She refuses to reconcile to fate. She's a log of wood whose thoughts have died, and yet the heart pumps blood. I sometimes wish that she was dead. Oops. Sorry. I'm discussing death again. Let's not discuss it. At least, not today. But you see, there are people who lose the enthusiasm in life, who get up, eat, go to office, eat, return home, eat, sleep. The cycle continues. Aren't they really dead? Oh, why do I always come back to the topic of death? Let's not discuss it. At least, not today. There's so much chaos around. People are surrounded. People are surrounding themselves with strong walls. When people are butchered for religion and caste, when women and young girls are raped, when innocence is attacked, when children are trafficked, when nations engage in killing each other, people stay in their own fortresses where they can neither see, hear, feel, nor touch the inhumanity and think they are safe. Let me tell you, dear, we are all dead. We are all dead. So that was my poem. I hope you all liked it.
Yes. A very powerful poem, as always, with an unmistakable message, Neelam. But I'm not going to ask you about the thought behind this poem or what inspired you, like I asked the others. Please share with us, Neelam, as to what drives you to remain so active, promoting poetry, poets, and poetry groups that you've formed with your followers as literary warriors, with you being at the foremost or at the forefront of all these things. So we just want to know a little bit about that journey of yours, Neelam.
I don't know. I think I have tremendous energy. I just can't sit quietly. I relax only when I sleep, and at all other times, I'm doing something or the other. So I think that has been decided by divine, and I'm just following it.
Wonderful, Neelam. And let that divine energy always be with you, and let you be always, uh, promoting poets and poetry the way you do it. Please continue to do it. Shine on. Thank you so much,
With your
Neelam.
blessing, need your blessing. So, Paddy, now I invite you to
Thank you.
render your poetry.
Sure. Thank you. Uh, I just realized when I was planning to read some other poem, then I realized tomorrow is 12th December and it's the 8th death anniversary of the sitar maestro, Pandit Ravi Shankar. So my poem is slightly different. It's a tribute to Pandit Ravi Shankar, 7th April 1920 to 12th December 2012. Pandit Ravi Shankar's sitar and music has created a lasting spell and magic. For him, boundaries mattered the least. His music merged the West and the East. As his fingers danced on sitar strings, one felt drenched with several springs. Don't miss the Raag Pilu duet on sitar violin by Pandit Ravi Shankar and Yehudi Menuhin to experience a real life euphoria created by their musical ambrosia. Oh, this is just one of his several creations that set high standards of music rendition. Yehudi Menuhin or George Harrison, they all had this to say in unison. Ravi Shankar made Indian music universal. His creativity and genius had no parallel. Grammy's posthumous Lifetime Achievement Award would certainly not be the last for this musical bard. His music lives on in many a heart, of which he shall always be a part. Pandit Ravi Shankar, rest in peace, amid sitar notes that never cease. Thank you. So,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Really good.
Thank you very much. Actually, this was not the poem I had scheduled, but I thought since tomorrow is Pandit Ravi Shankar's death anniversary, I thought let me read this poem. With this, I think we come to the first round of our poetry reading. We'll now move to the second one. And in this, we'll slightly change the order of reading. I now invite Satbir Chaddha ji to please read her poem.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. And Neelam spoke of death, and I'm talking of life. But when there's life, there'll be depression, and when there's depression, there'll be suicidal tendencies. Some successful, some unsuccessful. So everything needs to be talked about, So this is another poem. This how to
Wow.
jump off a cliff. How to jump off a cliff when you're tired of life. First thing first, make sure you're ready to leave. Make sure you're ready to leave. Go through the wardrobes. Maybe some strings still clutch. Clear the contacts. Some calls may still have to be made. Go through the accounts. Be sure all bills are unpaid. Look at family pics. Look at family pics. Hope there's no love or longing left. Be sure before you leave to have made your bed. Be sure before you leave to have made your bed. Choose the cliff well, shouldn't be too much to climb.
Yeah.
Or there'll always be a chance of changing your mind. The fall side should be really steep. The fall side should be really steep with nothing to break your fall. No rocks, boulders, or trees growing tall. If you can still see the bottom of the valley, make sure there's no body there of water, only rugged, stony earth. Now you're all set. Now you're all set. But to increase the load, pile up your resentments, jealousies, and wholesome hatred. Tie on the avarice and loathing of folks when you were unkind. Take it all. It will certainly add to the weight. It will certainly add to the weight. All your malice, no, sorry. It will certainly add to the weight. So when you jump, you'll go down straight. All your malice and ungrateful words, take them all. You need to quicken your fall. Shut your eyes now, forever, with this life you're living. Shut your eyes now, forever with this life. You're alone now, my friend. You're all on your own. Just a line of caution before the final roll. Just a line of caution before the final roll. Make sure the rope around your waist is secured to a pole. Give yourself a chance. Give yourself a chance, and life will take a turn. This time around, my dear, simply love everyone. I promise you then, your life will be a lark. I promise you then, your life will be a lark. With love in your armor, you'll make life rock. Thank you, friends. Thank you. A slightly
Wonderful, wonderful poem. Wonderful, very positive poem. Though there are process steps on how to jump off a cliff, yet the poem ends on a very beautiful, positive note, and that's what matters the most. Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Satbir. I would like to ask you something, not from this poem.
Yes.
I was very impressed by these lines that appear in your book, Glass Doors, and quoted on your Facebook timeline as well. Inside,
Okay.
something dies every time behind the closed glass doors of a woman's fortitude. Can you please briefly share something about your book, Glass Doors?
Glass Doors is quite an autobiographical sort of poetry. Poured out what I have experienced and felt, and my own experiments with my emotions, with my relations, and the way of people behaving, and going up, falling down. Not from this poem, this particular poem, the first poem you could think it is a feministic. My poetry is not feministic. I'm just humanistic. For me, men, women, which are all equal. So that is not aspect is not there to this poem portrays that. And basically, our lives, we are behind the glass doors. We are visible, but then there's always the murk that frosts the doors. So what is visible is not really the truth. And there's always some untruth and some mask, always. But
Thank you, Satbir. Yeah.
with all these thoughts behind it, the cover was very beautifully designed, giving all those layers, by a very nice artist friend. So you'll see it through the cover also. You'll get the same feeling. Thank you, dear.
Thank you, Satbir ji, for those great insights about your book, The Glass Door. And
Thank
now I invite, thank you, ma'am. I now invite a young poet from Jammu and Kashmir, Mohammad Zahid, to please read his poem. I wanted to call him before we lose him.
He's just coming. He's just coming.
I know, I can see
Yeah.
that. I can see that. Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
So,
this is
Zahid,
a
it's your turn
trouble,
to read your
troubling
poem
thing. Yeah.
quickly. Yeah.
He's a good guy. He comes with the beat. The
I
beating
like the
start.
hide and seek.
So since we, this is something very, serious, and like when we talk about death. So tomorrow is my dad's death anniversary. So my dad, Mr. Bashir Ahmed Maktoubi, has been the person who introduced me to the language of English and literature, and all that, and just held my hand and made me walk through all this beauty of literature and language.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm my condolences to your father. Okay, for your father.
his name is Mr. Bashir Ahmed Maktumi.
Yeah.
Seem to have lost him again.
So here's a poem that talks about this very thing. The poem is Days, Nights. Some days don't begin with mornings. Many days end with the evenings. Some days start at night like dreams, and many nights start during the day. That's when pain eclipses the sun of joy forever. They say days are born out of nights, and days turn into nights when they die. It takes many nights to make a day bright, and a single night to turn many days dark. The sun, the moon, and stars are just lamps that switch on and off. The days and nights are there for some other reason. Days that look like nights camouflage the stars over their grim moments. Nights that look like days steal the
He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Like this game of hide and seek. There he is.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries.
The days and nights are there for some other reason. Days that look like nights camouflage the stars over their grim moments. Nights that look like days steal the sun from the other end of the globe. We keep clutching the loose ends of the days to tie them to the fleeting nights. They slip, sometimes stretch. We stand, stagger, recoil, and recover, and at last fall, fatigued, to be pulled along those stretched ends, disappearing in the gaps between the days and nights, and those left behind keep staring at the days that look like nights.
He'll be back.
Yeah.
There he is. He's back.
I'm repeating the last 2-3 lines.
Sure.
To be pulled up, we stand, stagger, recoil, and recover, and at last fall, fatigued, to be pulled along those stretching ends, disappearing in the gaps between the days and nights, and those left behind keep staring at the days that look like nights, nights they lose the count of. Thank you.
Very nice. A very deep poem. A poem with a lot of depth. Thank you, Zahid. And before we lose you, I'd like to ask you something about your poetry collection with the interesting title, Pheromone Trail. You do give unusual titles to your poems, right? I remember Subcutaneous, which was one of your poems. Over to you, Zahid. Tell us something about your book.
He has disappeared.
Again, he has disappeared. Okay, okay. Shall we just wait for a few seconds?
Yeah, he's in.
There he is.
Yeah, I could get the part of the question you're talking about the Pheromone Trail.
That's right.
So going for by the name the Pheromone Trail, in my childhood, I heard about an experiment about the ants. When ants are walking in a trail, and then if we rub that area, like it doesn't make any physical change in that place, like if it is a cement or some flat surface, but those ants, they are lost for a moment because they have normally tracked their trail through a pheromone, the chemical that they use to communicate to each other. And then this somebody rubbing off the trail and people losing and getting lost in a commotion. And
Oh, I've lost him again. I hope this is the last of the disconnections.
Here he is.
yeah, this is the
Yeah.
this is how you work on 2G. So the
Yeah,
bad thing
yeah.
about, yes, so that's how this 2G thing affects. So when this trail is rubbed, the ants are lost. So that's how it's connected to this place. And like you can draw parallels and corollaries from that. So this is how it goes. But this book overall is about my experiences, and it has a vast range of subjects, right from emotions, about life as such, about introspection. There are a few English ghazals also there. So that is a compilation, and it's my first work. So there are some earlier poems too, which talk about my earlier careers and how I was intrigued by.
He'll be back.
Um,
No, but we should know what's happening there also. So, yeah, Zahid.
Yes, yes, yes. So a lot of things about this place also. So it has a wide range of themes that I have that I have read written about.
Yeah. Thank you, Zahid, for telling us about your book. And thank you very much for your two poems. Thank you very much. Before we lose you again, thank you once again. And
Thank
I
you.
thank all the people also who have been connecting with us and for all their lovely comments that we have been that have been scrolling here. Thank you very much, all the people from the Facebook Live who have connected with us, Santosh, Gauri, and so many others, Parmeet Soniji, and several other friends, Kumud, several other friends who have joined us and who are encouraging us with their wonderful comments that we are seeing. Thank you so much for connecting. Now it's over to you, Neelam, to please read your poem.
Thank you, Paddy. The poem that I'll be reading now is titled The Inner Strength. The evening knows what betrayal means. The evening knows what betrayal means. She has seen promises being shattered like simple breaking of colorful glass bangles again. She has watched abandonment and despair as even the shadows have left her. She perfectly understands what solitude means, for she has seen time leave her lonely and alone. She exactly knows what endless waiting means, for she has expectantly stood on the shores of the dark sea, waiting for the sun to rise up again and take her in his warm arms. The other day, when I saw the evening having a colorful glint, I watched her in naked bewilderment and embracing her in my arms, asked, from where do you get this sparkle despite having experienced so much of hurt and pain? With one hand on my shoulder and lifting my chin with the index finger of the other, the evening said with a smile, you should never despair over the aches. After all, they come to you for a reason. While I naively stood still in front of her, she continued, I'm always grateful to the showers of agonies here and there, for they taught me wherein lies my inner strength. So that was my poem, The Inner Strength.
Wonderful poem, Neelam. It kind of defines you, but I would like to know what made you write this particular poem. That's what I would like to know from you.
You know,
The inner journey.
I simply love nature, and I've written about various aspects of nature.
Okay.
So, one day I was just watching the evening, sitting by the sea, and this was the exact thought which came into my mind. Ki the evening is losing something, but still it doesn't show any pain or ache or anything. So why do we lose hope? And that made me write this poem. This was written in Goa.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you, Neelam. Thank you for taking us through that journey, the inner journey as to what made you write that poem. I now invite Dr. Koshy AV to please read his poem. And yeah, thank you, Dr. Koshy. Please go ahead.
Yeah, my first poem was from this book, Birds of Different Feathers. And I think now that was too short a poem. So I'm going to read a slightly longer one.
Most
And I was
welcome.
very interested to hear about the Pheromone Trail because, my sister's a PhD in zoology and she has told me about it. And after that, I'm hearing about it for the first time from Mohammad. So it was very nice to hear about that.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank
this
you,
is the
thank you.
poem. This is from an anthology called The Poetry of War and Peace, which was done by Brian Rickson and A World of Friends. And it's a poem called Ashoka. It's a dramatic monologue. And it has some references to Hamlet and the Book of Job, which are intentional anachronisms. It has a poetic inversion, and I've used some Malayalam words. It catches Ashoka just before he's about to die. Ashoka, Buddha, the fire that awaits me soon, this mortal coil will feel its heat. Reminds me of the tents of the soldiers and the night's interim during Kalinga. How the men sat around the fires, while in the tents the wounded stirred uneasy, some groaned, bloody. Outside the men talked hoarsely or quietly or calmly, of wife or children, of village or town. I looked across the field at the other side, knowing it was the same there. Later, the sleeping sun would rise, beckoning everyone to death. Everyone dies, quick or slow, true. But this that I made them do, for whatever purpose I held dear then. All these long years of expiation, Gautama, Siddhartha, my dear holy Lord Buddha, seem fit recompense. But like those who read the book of Job, I too now ask you, can the replaced sons and daughters make up for the ones lost? Can the enemies I caused death to be reconciled to me by the ones I made peace with later? This question, too heavy for a mortal, wears my spirit out. I wish to die now, while the leaves are falling to the ground in grey symphonies in my mind, and the cherry tree awaits its final perfect blossoming. Not as the one who knows the answers, but as the one whose eyes are tired from peering too long into the horizon for the answer, hoping still to find that Sharanam you found and the Sangha. Like Job, I too say, that too was beyond me. War and peace are but two sides of the same coin, O Buddha. But I am more cursed or blessed even than you, perhaps, in having been used by both the forces of destruction and the forces of preservation, a gift I did not ask for, and having lived it, cannot now ever exchange for only gain. Let this leaf soon find its peaceful end in the fire. History be my judge. So this is, Ashoka's thoughts just before he dies.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing
Wonderful,
another of your
wonderful.
masterclass poems, Dr. Koshy. And I have also written a poem on the same subject, how
Yeah.
Ashoka repents after the Kalinga War. I couldn't find it. I'll share it next time when we happen to meet. And a beautiful poem and a
Please.
very absolutely poignant poem. And his conversation with Buddha, and very wonderful poem. I'd like to know something, in that about you, because you're doing some great work. You've instituted the annual Real International Prize for Literature. Can you please share
Yeah.
briefly your thoughts behind instituting such a prize and encouraging writers, which is such a great thing to do? And also, please share with us a bit about the novel that your upcoming novel.
Oh yeah. The prize, has come from two things. One is, my son has autism. He's non-verbal, and I think about how people who are like us, who can read and write and speak, how it's a great gift. We don't know how valuable it is in comparison with someone who wants to do it but cannot. You know, and so I wanted to encourage writers uh, as a kind of encouragement for them to verbalize themselves on all the issues that people like my son probably want to speak about but can't. And Santosh is here. I think she was the first prize winner. I'm very happy I instituted it because through it, over 6 years, I think at least 100 people have got the prize or the certificate and they've been helped. And about my new novel, it's a very interesting novel. It's written for NaPoWriMo and I got the certificate because all you have to do is complete 50,000 words. But the novel is not complete. There's two streams. One is it's a life of Jesus as I imagine it during the first 30 years of his life, which is hidden. And the second one is about someone who is based on me, who meets characters like Buddha and Guru Nanak and several other of spiritual people whom I admire. Ramana Maharshi, maybe Chaitanya. I'm only writing it, and how finally I integrate all these things together, these two streams. So I think it's going to be a very interesting novel. I've reached about halfway.
Yeah, very nice. Sounds like a blend of spiritualism and philosophy. Wonderful. All the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
for the novel. And kudos to you, sir. Respects to you for your wonderful initiative of instituting a prize for promoting literature and writers. And a big God bless from all of us here to Ruel, your son.
Yes, thank you. And Satbir also now has a prize.
I
So
know.
there
I know.
are two of us.
Yes, it's mentioned in her bio as well.
Yeah, in the
Thank
bio.
you so much, Dr. Koshi, for those insights about your book as well as about the prize. And we wish you all the best. And please continue with your literary journey and the way you promote writers and poets. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now it's Neelam's turn to please read her poem. Over to you,
I've
Neelam.
read my poem.
I'm
I've
sorry.
read
I'm
my
sorry.
poem.
Oh,
I would
I'm
like to
sorry. I'm
invite.
sorry.
I would like to invite you to read your poem.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Neelam. Mine is a poem titled When. It's written in the limerick style, five-liners in the limerick style, the entire poem. And it's titled When. When you feel totally down and out, beset by nagging worries and doubt, go watch some comedy shows, let out some haha and ho-hos, and see a smile replacing a pout. When everything around you seems to irk and mind absolutely refuses to work, try cooking a new dish, veg, non veg, or some fish, and see your creation bring on a smirk. When creativity is at an ebb low and ideation seems on a go slow, try doing a translation as a means of diversion, and you'll soon get into the flow. When unrequited love refuses to die and mind questions why, Go out and let your hair down. Use red hue to paint the town, and soon you'll find your spirits high. When for an issue you find no solution, and mind seems beset with confusion, use an effective mental tissue to wipe the mind off the issue, and soon the issue will find resolution. Thank you very much.
That was wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very fond of this
It was
style of poetry.
yeah, I've read a lot of your limericks,
Thank you.
and I really am amazed when people are able to write in so many styles. Dr. Koshy, Zahid,
Yes.
Satbir ji, everybody.
Yeah.
We have wonderful poets today, and it was a wonderful evening. Thanks to all of you from my side.
Thank you, Neelam.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you very much, Neelam. It was a wonderful time.
Yes,
It's
yes. It was a wonderful evening. Thank you all. And with
always a
this, we
joy.
come to the. Yeah.
Thank you, Paddy. Thank you, Satbir. Thank you, Zahid.
It was a wonderful interaction. Yes, I enjoyed thoroughly. Though it kept me pulling out, I became as much, incorrigible, and I kept coming back in.
No,
Yes.
you were very.
And we love that.
That's
We love that.
wonderful.
I think that was the highlight of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes, yes,
You
yes.
playing hide and seek with us, it was nice playing hide and seek. And
Yeah,
we
and it
finally
also
have you
shows the,
here.
the
We
hardships that we face here every time,
Yes, we understand.
because of
Yes.
such things.
hope to have
Yes.
Zahid with us. Enjoy
Again,
his
yes.
poetry. It's a
Yes.
different level, a different angle of poetry. So yeah, and
And
Koshy,
for
of
me
course.
personally, it was a great learning experience hearing
Yeah.
poetry of all of you great people. Thank you very much for providing me that wonderful experience, learning experience, and thoroughly enjoyed all your poems. Thank you very much. And it was a wonderful evening.
Paddy,
Neelam,
I
would you
need
like to say something in conclusion?
of your lyrics. You're famous for your limericks.
Thank
Limericks.
you.
Excellent.
I,
Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
yeah, I'm sure that all our audience also enjoyed as much as we enjoyed, because
Yeah.
we had different forms of poetry coming up on different variety of themes. Thank you everyone. Keep
Thank you.
joining, and hope to meet in person also very soon. Thank you so much. Good night. Good night.
Thank
Thank you very much, Neelam, for the wonderful bringing together of poetry and poets. All credit to you for this wonderful initiative. Thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing us all together. God bless you. Take care. See you.
Thanks to you, Paddy, for moderating this session so well.
My pleasure and
And
honor.
thanks, Dr. Koshy, for adjusting your timings. Thanks, Zahid. Thanks, Sadbir. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good
Good night,
night.
everyone.
Bye.
Good night, Satbir ji,
Take,
Zahid, Koshi
take care.
sir. Good night. Good night, Neelam. Thank you all. Thanks
Bye.
much.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah. Good
Bye.
night, everybody. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you. Bye.